Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me and allowing me to continue to be your daily advocate. If you're new here or you're not subscribed for any reason, please do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button. Thank you to all of you who have been watching and following me for so long. It truly means a lot, and I'm glad that I can be this person.
A candidate for Congress in the United States says that the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit is frivolous. And that's her word. She used the word frivolous. And I have to tell you, it's a breath of fresh air to hear anybody even trying to become a part of Congress use such strong words as it pertains to the suit. It's actually not common to see that, so I personally appreciate that, and I'll share with you the specifics. And interestingly enough, the reason that this opinion, this perspective even came out from this candidate for Congress, it resulted from something that everybody in the community has been talking about, and I made a video about just yesterday. It was Congressman Warren Davidson saying some negative things about Ripple and spreading FUD accidentally, or at least mostly accidentally, I think. I'll catch you up to speed in case you missed what that's about. Also, I want to share with you this story. This one comes from the Crypto Basic. Ripple requests more time to respond to SEC's proposed redaction of key documents. Oh yay! Another extension! Woo! This one's a short one though, it's not that big a deal, but yes, it still steams mod vegetables just a little bit. And then I want to share with you this story at the end of the video. It's unrelated to anything having to do with Ripple or XRP, so I'm going to save it for the end as a result. But here's the headline from the Daily Hodl. U.S. Department of Justice charges 2 crypto traders over alleged $1.1 million Frosties NFT scam. Now look, the world of crypto, there's no shortage of scams. And I have no trouble with any government agency the world over going after them. I just don't like when the SEC is picking winners and losers. That's a separate topic here, but as far as the Department of Justice going after legitimate scammers, yes. And I think that some of these people, when they're doing these scams, they feel so detached and it just feels like fake internet money. Maybe it's just easier to do and it's not face-to-face and it feels more innocent if you're doing, I don't know, I'm just speculating here what's going through these terrible humans' minds. But if you do this, you're a criminal and you're going to go to jail. So check out this story. But before going any further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. I'm going to start with this story about this extension in the SEC versus Ripple case because frankly, it's really brief. There's not that much to cover here, but it's an add-on to what I've been what I made a video about just the other day, so I want to throw it in here real quick, and then we'll get into the stuff having to do with the candidate for Congress saying that the Ripple lawsuit is frivolous. But anyway, into this first story. Following the Securities and Exchange Commission's request to redact certain portions of some meetings notes between the agency and third parties, defendant Ripple has filed a motion seeking an extension of time to respond to the SEC's proposed redaction. So indeed, I did make a video where I highlighted all the specifics, not going to get into it here. Again, this is just a little add-on piece here. I will mention that the SEC, there are certain notes that they don't want Ripple to see certain aspects. Maybe it's legit, maybe it's not, maybe the redactions are perfectly reasonable. I don't trust the SEC. So I'm skeptical of anything they want to do when they're hiding stuff because they're still trying to hide those 63 Billy Boy Hinman emails. And I heavily suspect that there's some really damning evidence in there. But here's what attorney James Filan shared with the community. So shout out to James Filan for continually sharing all of the legal updates. So this is the actual letter from Ripple's legal team. If you want to read it, it's on your screen, but the gist of it is as a result of the letter where the SEC is requesting from the judge, hey, we want to redact information. Ripple's going to respond to what the SEC wrote and certainly protest that, but they're requesting an extension so that they can respond of just a few days. The SEC is going to give them some information by early next week, and then Ripple's just requesting this extension so that they have time to respond. And I'll tell you what, as much as we don't want to see any extension occur, if Ripple's requesting it, I'm going to assume it's legitimate. If the SEC's requesting it, I'm going to assume it's not legitimate because it's in the SEC's best interest to drag this out and emotionally drain everybody on the opposing side, but it's in Ripple's best interest to get this thing hammered out as quickly as possible. So if they're requesting an extension, I'll take their word for it and assume that they actually need it. Now into this next piece here. Again, a candidate for Congress says Ripple lawsuit is frivolous. Well, where is this all stemming from? Well, let me set the table really quickly. I made like a 25-minute video yesterday, so I'm not going to rehash all of my perspective on that, but I do want to make sure that everybody knows that we're at least talking about. Warren Davidson, who is a very pro-crypto guy, happens to be a Republican in Ohio, so he's one of 435 members of the House of Representatives in Congress. He fell for something that you shouldn't really fall for, but I acknowledge, like, we can all be gullible, and if you have just the right circumstances, we can all be gullible, and then you feel kind of embarrassed when you fall for something stupid. This is just one of those moments. It doesn't mean he's dumb. It doesn't mean he's gullible all the time necessarily, but he did fall for a scam. Actually, I think this was a website in this case. It was a fake Ripple website noting that there's going to be a distribution of over 5 billion XRP from Ripple, which certainly is not true. Warren Davidson saw this and assumed that it was true, and he took issue with it because this meant, of course, that a central entity was going to be distributing, issuing over 5 billion XRP, which would dilute the price of XRP. And so he tweeted out, "So, if a central authority can dilute the value of all XRP by issuing plus 5 billion new tokens?" And then he tweeted this out also, "A bit of nuance from the central authority." And there's a fake Ripple Insights blog, that's their official blog series, but this is a fake Ripple Insights entry justifying why they're doing what they're doing, explaining that people out of XRP balances get dividends, which just isn't true. So he quickly realized, based on community response, that this was a scam. He fell for a scam. Not that he actually gave money to the scammers or anything like that. There's no indication of that. But he thought that this was legitimate and thought that this was something bad about Ripple. And so my question was, why was he so quick to jump on board and just assume that that this was the case? Why, does he really believe that Ripple's a central authority? Because even if this isn't true, I mean, Ripple does have a huge quantity of XRP. 1 billion of it gets released each month. Does he have a problem with that? Then he had a problem with 5 billion here. So after 5 months, that's 5 billion. Now, granted, not all of it ends up in the XRP ecosystem. Most goes back into a rolling escrow still. But does he have an issue with that? It just makes me wonder, what does he really think about Ripple and XRP? It really makes me wonder. And he does seem to think, from what I can tell, that the whole thing's centralized. So he doesn't seem to understand the difference between concentration of an asset versus a centralization of a blockchain. And those are two completely different concepts here. And so this is not an attack on him. For sure, everybody's entitled to their opinion, even if he does think this stuff. I think it's erroneous, but nothing personal against him. And he then tweeted out, after he realized that those two first ones were just from a scammer, he put out a third tweet where he wrote, "Deleted tweet referencing the distribution of plus 5 billion XRP by central authority controlling supply pending authentication." And so I don't know what the hell you still have to authenticate once you realize that it's a fake Ripple website. What are you waiting to figure out? Didn't make sense to me. And then a short while after he tweeted that one out, he deleted the third tweet too. It was strange, and he shut down communication first. And I mentioned this all in a video yesterday in greater detail, but he turned off the opportunity for people to respond unless they were following, unless he was following them on Twitter, or if he mentioned specifically that they had the permission to reply to that particular tweet. So he didn't like the responses. He shut down communication, and then he just deleted the whole thing, which was kind of regrettable. And unfortunately, to this point, it's almost 48 hours later since this debacle began, and he still hasn't come out and offered any explanation of what's going on or what he thinks about XRP or centralization or any of this stuff, the stuff that the community wants to know. He's not answering any of this. So the community, understandably, over the last 48 hours has continued to talk about this. It hasn't really slowed down. Even during day 2 of this whole thing, if anything, things just got amped up further, and I'm going to show you why. But also, it's worth noting this. Tag XRP has done a great job digging up all sorts of information having to do with the background of some of the SEC officials at the center of all of this, everything, all the shadiness that's been gone with the Ethereum ICO, all the stuff that we've been talking about for close to a year at this point. Tag XRP has done an excellent job highlighting. In fact, on March 5th, and I mentioned this yesterday, he shared this tweet. This is before all of this went down even. And he highlighted that the Token Taxonomy Act needs a full investigation. Now, the Token Taxonomy Act, it's something that does seem to be good for the entirety of the crypto space, but we have questions with anything, understandably, having to do with the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. And here he noted from an article that here it's on your screen, the token taxonomy framework was developed by more than 24 businesses and overseen by the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. So he's just saying, okay, well, let's look into this further. And so then it's just kind of interesting to note that he's saying, let's look out for this. And it turns out that the Token Taxonomy Act, which Warren Davidson has been pushing, well, it was overseen by the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. And then so you couple that with the fact that he seemed to think that Ripple was some sort of central authority surrounding XRP, which is not true. There's no explanation given, no apology, no anything. And so the fact that there's been no response at this point, I will say it's kind of regrettable. I think that he kind of botched the recovery of this, because in order to fix the situation, you got to have open, transparent communication. And there's been no communication on this other than this, which I assume he was referencing the debacle here. But about 1 day later, a little less than 24 hours later, I guess, he tweeted out, and this was after he came under a lot of fire, understandably so. He tweeted out, "You're killing me, Smalls. I still love you, though." Well, some of you. Some people were a little bit more harsh than others. I've been pretty chill about it. Like, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. Now it's been almost 48 hours, though. I don't think he's going to say anything about this and explain why he thinks Ripple is a central authority or what exactly happened, anything to that effect. Looks like he's just moving on, which is kind of regrettable. So that led to Tag XRP and many others in the XRP community becoming upset, and I understand why. And so Tag XRP 14 hours ago tweeted out, "If you're disappointed in what you learned about Warren Davidson working with members of the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance that obliterated our XRP, then Vanessa Enoch, PhD, is running against Warren Davidson. Vanessa Enoch, would you be," he tagged her there, "would you be willing to set up a crypto wallet and take XRP donations?" So, look, I don't know that, I'm not convinced, honestly, and everybody's entitled to their opinion, so if I disagree with anybody that's listening to this is not an attack on you, please don't take anything wrong. I just like sharing ideas and having an open discussion here. I'm not convinced that Warren Davidson is doing anything shady. Keep looking into it, fine. If you find anything, let me know. There's no evidence to this point. I'm not convinced he is. It looks to me like he's got friends at the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, but, presumably other parts of crypto as well. Other people in crypto as well is a better way to word that. And it looks like he just wants what's best for the space. And he may not even be aware of some of the shadiness going on. He doesn't seem to want to recognize the shadiness going on with the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, which is not surprising since, the Token Taxonomy Act, which is something he's pushing for, and this is part of his political career. I don't think he'd want to throw Enterprise Ethereum Alliance under the bus, and he seems to just not be addressing it. And he has to have been, I would think anyway, that he's been made aware of this because he's gotten so many notifications on Twitter. He's active on Twitter. I don't know how he possibly could not have seen this at that point. I don't know how he couldn't have. So this is all speculation. Again, I'm still willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. Nothing personal against him whatsoever. I'm just covering what's been going on to this point here. Now, a Chip from On the Chain, YouTube channel, he thinks that Tag XRP is way off base in pushing Warren Davidson's political opponent and wanting to fund her with XRP specifically. And he tweeted out the following. He wrote, "I commented, 'You have lost the plot. Offering up a progressive social justice warrior? Seriously? Davidson is a member of the Freedom Caucus. So we got the same scam email as we all did and made a mistake. I disagree with you wholeheartedly.'" So a few things here. Look, I'm never going to preach politics on this channel. I only touch anything political insofar as it pertains to the content of my video because this is a cryptocurrency channel. So if there's something crypto related, especially if it's XRP related, okay, I'll touch on it. You're not going to get me preaching anything political on this channel ever. I understand that is not why people come here, period. Not going to do that. So the only thing I'll say here on this, I don't have any problem with anybody else that wants to share their political opinions. I just shy away from that. The personal opinion, no disrespect to anybody that wants to share their opinions. And my stance, period, is even if you're listening to this, even if we have different political views, my stance is we can still respect each other, right? Like, I can still respect you. We can still be friends. That's where I come from here. Now, I happen to be more on the right politically. So I suspect that as far as that stuff goes, I'd probably agree with a lot of what Chip has to say here. And as far as the the email here that the scam email, or maybe it was a fake Ripple website, it was one or the other, that Warren Davidson fell for. Like, again, under the right set of circumstances, anybody listening can fall for a scam and be tricked, okay? And then, I get it, we can all feel embarrassed, but we can all fall for that type of stuff. So to me, it's not that big a deal. I just wish that Warren Davidson would address that here. And also, even though I'm not going to preach politics, I will say this in general, and I think this makes sense no matter what you believe. Like, I'm not a one-issue voter. So as much as I've said in the past, and I do believe it's important to try and get people out of political positions that are anti-crypto, and I do believe that's generally speaking important. I'm not going to, if they have views that are just completely against everything that I believe to be important and true in life, that's going to weigh heavily. And so I'm not a one-issue voter, but I'm saying where it makes sense for me personally, if I can vote somebody out, if I've got two candidates that are equivalent more or less, it's just hypothetical, then I'd vote for the one that's pro-crypto, right? So I'm just saying, let's go in that direction. But no, I'm not going to be a one-issue voter. So tag XRP, he seems to be a one-issue voter here, and if that's how he wants to approach things, that's his prerogative. That's fine. People can do whatever they want. I'm just sharing with you how I look at this in general. Not a one-issue voter, although crypto is very important to me. But interestingly, Vanessa Enoch, who is again the candidate for Congress running against Warren Davidson, the vote's going to be in early May, I believe. She actually saw this because she was tagged, so she saw this whole thread, and she jumped in and responded to Chip from On the Chain. And she wrote, "Ha, you know nothing about me. I am a business owner of a financial services and IT company with an MBA and a PhD in public policy, and unlike Davidson, who is a proxy for big banks and insurance, and who has barely held a job outside of daddy's company, I built my business." So again, I'm not going to get into the politics, I'm just covering the story. And then somebody named XR Paul March 2 responded to Vanessa and wrote, "Where do you stand on digital assets and XRP? Have you looked into the SEC's handling of this case? Can you tell the XRP community?" And Vanessa responded with something that I would say is refreshing, even though I suspect that I agree with almost nothing that she'd have to say politically. I just find this refreshing regardless. Here's what she wrote. "I am a supporter of and holder of some digital assets. I am in the early stages of an NFT project now. I am slightly familiar with the frivolous lawsuit filed by the SEC against Ripple and XRP. I definitely will research to learn more about the status of the case." And so I just say, regardless of your politics, that's a refreshing thing to say. And so for me, what I value in life is intellectual honesty. And so that's why you'll find I'm not going to say, everything that the political people on the, more on my side of the political ideology, I'm not going to say everything that they believe in is right. I'm going to call them out if I think they're stupid. And if people on the other side, where I tend to agree less, if they're saying something that makes sense, I'm going to applaud that too, because I value intellectual honesty above almost anything else in my personal life. I want to surround myself with people I can trust, and if people will just prop up anything, even if the arguments don't make sense and I can see that it's not likely they believe it, that's a turnoff to me. So for me, intellectual honesty is one of the most important aspects that I look for when I'm surrounding myself with people in my own personal life. So that's just the way that I choose to live. I hate partisanship that isn't necessary. Not that everything has to be bipartisan. I think to some degree bipartisanship is overrated because this is a fight. Like, you got to fight for what you believe in, and sometimes there are certain things you just can't give. But in issues where it's not necessary, I'm just happy to recognize that as well. So regardless, I don't know what's going to happen with this. We'll see if she pushes any further or says anything. I'm happy to cover this. But, and she's not in Congress yet. Maybe she will be, maybe she won't in the future. But it's good to see even somebody running actually talking about this. And it's disappointing that Warren Davidson is silent on this and doesn't seem to want to talk about any of the shenanigans having to do with the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance and how Ethereum, ended up with its free pass, and how there seems to be a complete unequal distribution of justice, which is just endlessly offensive to me. I don't see that getting addressed here. So it is what it is. I'm just reporting on the story again. I just, whatever you think, That's perfectly fine. I don't judge somebody negatively, like I said, just because they disagree. That's just not how I approach stuff in life. So hopefully, even if you happen to be somebody listening that, even though you don't know the specifics of what I think and believe, even if you know based on what I said during the other side, this is just a crypto channel. Like, we should still be able to get along, right? That should have no bearing whatsoever. So I'm just sharing my thoughts. All right, now let's get on to this last story, which I found interesting. From the Daily Huddle, U.S. Department of Justice charges 2 crypto traders over alleged $1.1 million Frosties NFT scam. The U.S. Department of Justice is filing charges against 2 crypto traders over their alleged involvement in facilitating the $1.1 million Frosties non-fungible token rug pull scam, or NFT for short. Now, according to a new press release from the DOJ, Ethan and Andre, their full names are on the screen. I'm not even going to try that. I'm just not in the mood right now. I'm going to butcher those damn things. Like, as far as I'm concerned, the names, like, they kind of look like typos to me, like gibberish, because they're not common in the United States anyway. So I'm not even going to try. It's just Ethan and Andre hanging out, scamming the world. So anyway, according to a press release from the DOJ, Ethan and Andre were both charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering. Ethan and Andre allegedly advertised NFTs called Frosties, which allegedly granted holders eligibility for giveaways, early access to a metaverse game, and exclusive mint passes to upcoming Frosties seasons, among other things. After selling out Frosties in early January, however, Ethan and Andre allegedly deactivated their website and abandoned the project. They also transferred about $1.1 million worth of crypto from the project to various wallets under their control, according to the DOJ. Let me just pause to ask, why do these people think that they're going to get away with this crap? Crypto, generally speaking, is very, very, very easy to track. You can figure this stuff out. You really can. Like, you can even think about one of the biggest hacks, the recent one you may recall, is like a multi-billion-dollar hack. Took place years ago, and then the perpetrators of this, they sat around for years, and then they finally started to move, and they were trying to launder it, and they were even using privacy coins to try and make it harder to figure out. But you could still figure out the flows on the other ends, even if the piece is blank in the middle with the privacy coin, you can figure out the in and out on the other sides, and so they were still able to piece it all together. Like, I'm just telling you, trying to use crypto for illicit purposes is a stupid move, and these people, they weren't even trying to take that approach. Like, they're just, to what degree are you stupid and or cocky? Like, what is the blend of what is going through your stupid little brain that makes you think that you're actually going to get away with this? And these are terrible people on top of that. I can't stand people like this, stealing from people with their hard-earned money. Anyway, peace continues though. Prior to being arrested in Los Angeles, Ethan and Andre were also allegedly gearing up to launch the second round of fraudulent NFTs called Embers. So they weren't even done yet. They wanted more scam time. Now check this out. Here's why you shouldn't do this. Both the wire fraud charge and money laundering charge carry maximum sentences of 20 years in prison. You done messed up, son. Look, as my grandpappy used to say, people are no damn good.
So enjoy your day, everybody. I'm always here for you. Leave any comments or questions below, and be sure to subscribe. But thanks, everybody. I really appreciate you. Enjoy your day, and I always have your back. So thanks so much, everybody.